have a mystery on our hands this week. Scholars in this room are the crew of a mighty ship, the Envisioneer. While on a search for ancient treasure, we were marooned on an island, and a key part of our navigational map went missing. Of the entire crew, we've considered 4 suspects. So far, we've eliminated 2 of the suspects, and are left with evidence against Dr. Smart and Shipwright Neff.
Due to the severity of the storm, unfortunately, many people were injured in the chaos. Because of how many people were injured, Dr. Smart asked for our help to put splints on the people who have yet to be treated by them. In order to do that, we needed to know what certain fractures look like and how to make a splint. There's a simple fracture, which is a single break through of the bone. And then there's a closed fracture, which is any kind of fracture that doesn't have open skin, broken skin. Then there's a comminuted fracture, which is multiple breaks or crushed portions of the bone. And then there's an open fracture that has broken skin around it. Due to it being open, it is more prone to infections. I'm going to show you how to make a splint. Place the arm right there. You want to fold these with its tooth and knuckles. See, that doesn't need to be folded. This is folded to here, basically. And then you need to shape it and form it on your own. That is how you make a splint so that the wrist or arm stays in place so it doesn't further fracture the arm.
While we're working on that, I would like to talk about what we do with the respiratory system. So in this part of the lesson, we learned about the respiratory system, and while doing that, we built a model lung. We built out of our supplies, which was the cup, clay, straw, and 2 balloons. When you breathe into it, the middle balloon expands along with this balloon, which acts as the lung and diaphragm. And we put clay to block air from the outside from going inside. And the straw represents our nose and mouth, which we breathe from. We did this because in their case, doctors were trying to heal those patients who were which their respiratory was affected by the storm. There was one patient who had a pneumothorax, which was a collapsed lung. And here it helped us see with our own eyes how that worked. This part of the story helped us with our journey through the medicine department.
We are the engineering specialists, and we will be talking about the MBOTs and the truss bridge and why they were important to the case.
The truss bridge is made of straws and paper cups. This is how we made the truss bridge. So we made the truss bridge because we had to make sure that that it could support the weight of the MBOTs to go find the missing crew members.
This is important to the case because we would have never been able to find the missing crewmates and not get the MBOTs wet because of the storm on the island.
So as you know, there was the big storm and the shipwreck, which caused all of the missing crew, and that also had first mate Sidney Young was on the island as well. So we made the M-bots so that they could go around and find everyone on the island. And the reason the M-bots went is because it was too dangerous for humans. And a fun fact about the M-bots is they are completely controlled by your electronic. So the M-bot goes through the truss bridge so that it doesn't get wet, and there are a couple different apps, and on one of the apps you can make your own program which helps the M-bot go around and successfully find all of the missing crewmates.
I will be talking about the heart dissection. The heart dissection is very important because during the storm, some of the crewmates got some cardiovascular problems. That is why we had to dissect the calf heart. And the calf heart is bigger than the human heart. This is the human heart. This is the pulmonary vein and the vena cava. And like I said, this heart is a human heart. And the calf heart is what we did dissect.
The venom from a snake bite can make you nauseous. This is important because Dr. Smart said that Neff may have not captured Young. But after some testing, Neff did. So this proves that Smart tried to save himself from being proved guilty, and Neff did capture Young. Here's what not to do if you get bit by a snake. Do move away from the location. Do remove rings or watches. Try to keep in mind of the colors or patterns of the snake, and keep sight of the bite below the heart. Do not try to capture the snake for identification. Do not apply a cold compress to bite site. Do not raise the bite site above heart. Do not apply a tourniquet. Do not run away or give the person alcohol or caffeine. And definitely do not try to suck the venom out by mouth. And do not cut into the snake bite with a razor knife.
It is also important which snake bit you, and so you can identify which antivenom to use. And something to look for in snake bites is redness and swelling in the area you got got bit. The activity we did was can't see what that word is. We did a blood clog. What a blood clog looked like with milk and lemon juice. And also the neuro is for your nerves and other parts of your nervous system. And hemotoxic is in the blood. It is important to the case because Young got bit by a Malayan pit viper, which is a hemotoxic snake bite. And Dr. Smart tried to cover it himself up by saying that she was hallucinating. To sum it up, snakes usually won't bite you unless if you're provoked, and it's not always a wet bite where you get venom injected into you.
Hello and welcome back to Channel 6.
Thank you, Gary, for that deep report about how sticks were made. I never would have guessed it was the Queen of England. Now let's move on to the blood splatters. First, we have a captain's log to read. My growing suspicion surrounding the whereabouts has taken me back to the scene of the crime and the blood drops. I need you to determine whose blood it is. Later, you will be able to compare your samples to these you found at the crime scene.
And look at here, we got the blood samples.
So this is a copy of the blood splatters found on the ship. As you heard, we were tasked to drop blood from different heights and measure the size of the blood drops. So once we had our samples, we measured the width and found an average width.
The average width for the 30-inch drop was 14.8 millimeters. Now we have another captain's log to read. I have just concluded that in the interviews by the crew about what they saw the night of the storm. After the shipwreck, Young had a gash on her chin. Neff was holding a rag over a cut on his head, and Smart had a bandage around his hand. So Dr. Smart's hand was at around 30 inches high. So we know that the blood came from Smart. Our new suspect is
Dr. Smart! Boom, boom, boom!
That's the end of our report.
Please check out Channel 7.
Thank you, Channel 6, for that amazing report and for the shout out. I would like to make a statement concerning the mysterious white powder and how it connects Dr. Smart and Robert Neff to the missing map. Over to you.
Thank you. Smart had used the powder to help Neff and the crew treat and soothe their sunburn. Back to you.
Thank you. This powder had been found on the floorboards of the ship and after the theft of the map, which had made Neff one of our top suspects, especially because Neff and Young were missing at the time.
Thank you. We had tested multiple white powders, but we had concluded that the mysterious white powder was cornstarch. Dr. Smart used cornstarch to help the crew and Neff with their sunburn. Over to you.
Thank you. To confirm Captain Thomas's suspicions, she had us check fingerprints to solve the case. When we got the cups with fingerprints on them, we brushed them with cocoa powder and put tape on them. That way we could compare them to our suspects. In the conclusion, by observing the prints, we came to the conclusion that they were Dr. Smart's fingerprints. And based on the evidence our STEM group has submitted, we believe that Dr. Smart and Shipwright Neff are guilty of stealing the ancient map.